Morning. It is Saturday, May 15th. Birds are being loud. Apple trees starting to bloom. Starting to turn green back there again. That's awesome. Anywho, just got back from the hardware store. Ready to do my upgrades. We got 8 baby chick bantams from Truck and Tractor Supply last Wednesday. They're growing fast. They're all doing good. They all made it through the first couple days, and the first couple days are the hardest days. So got a few issues to address and take care of. I'd probably cut that out and patch some new wood in the bottom there. And to cover all this and make that strong and safe enough that I just don't have to mess with it anymore, I've got this stuff. We use this on all our residential and commercial jobs where we add veneer cultured stone, thin cut natural stone. You put this on, you staple this on with the plastic side to the wall, and it's got kind of a fibrous, it's a slight moisture barrier. More what this does, if any moisture ever does accumulate behind the wall, dripping in or whatever, if there's hard rain, or even if it soaks through the masonry layer, it can wash downwards instead of just soaking and storing in there. This gives it a little bit of an air gap, and this also adds not a lot but a tiny bit of R value, insulative value, so it'll help keep some of the real hot summer days from cooking the coop, and the real cold winter days from freezing the coop from the outside in. The inside is double walled and insulated, and now the outer wall is gonna have a slight bit of R value. And then on top of that, we put our galvanized mesh, and this stuff is sharp and quite strong, and that'll go over the rain guard. And then when that's all nailed down tight, we'll mix up probably 2 big pails of mud. Let's just type in masonry mortar, residential grade. I was gonna go with the Type S, but I don't need commercial grade, whatever. Mortar is mortar for the most part. There's slight differences in the port and lime content, but that'll wrap this whole thing, and that'll reinforce the living crap out of it. And then any remaining mesh that I have will go in here, and I'll get that all nailed down tight. I'm going to dig down there and get the mesh into the ground on both sides. This is where we had our break-in that allowed a predator to kill our last flock. Excuse me. And then that'll all get mortared in. The side walls will get mortared over, so that'll just be locked in there. And then I'm going to brush this off. There's a concrete pad I poured for them, but you can see here I ran low on cement, so there's a low spot right here. I'm going to mix up probably 1, maybe 1.5. I'll get this all brushed off and take a wet brush to it so it helps it stick and bond. But 1 or 2 more pails of cement on top of this, and then I'll be able to trowel it over the edge, and that'll keep, you can see right here, water was seeping in and started to pop a few of my little hairline, and that will eventually, if I don't address it right away, it will eventually break those pieces of limestone off and get down to the brick and wreck it. So it'll keep puddles from accumulating on here, and when it does rain, it'll just naturally wash any chicken poop off. And then I got a couple more chunks of limestone like this. I was gonna set a few out and build them a staircase right up to their door. I got a little kind of like a doggy door, I guess. It's a chicken door, but that helps in the winter. I keep it on year round because otherwise they'll forget how to use it. Chickens aren't very smart, so but that there helps a lot with keeping the hard wind off of the coop. When it comes to hard winter, February, when we're on minus 35 and stuff, I'll take a piece of 2-inch foam and I just jam it right in the hole, and then they're stuck in there until temperatures are safe again, because I don't want to lose any chickens. Whatever. It's not a super expensive hobby, but it's not cheap by any means. And if you can keep your chickens happy, it's a good return. With 8 chickens, I'll be plucking 8 to 10 eggs out of this coop. Well, the girls will be plucking eggs out of the coop every morning, and that's just awesome. They start to accumulate real fast, and there's just nothing cooler than plucking out fresh eggs. And then I've got this little den. I'm not sure if it's groundhogs or what the heck, but they made a tunnel into here, so I got a couple extra bricks. I'm gonna jam in there, maybe slug a little bit of mortar on top of that, kick some stuff back over it, and then I don't know, I gotta do something to address the den of the mystery den. But I don't want any critters tunneling in here, whether they're meat eaters or not. That is a way for a meat eater to get in here. If it's a vacant den, a skunk could move in and whittle his way through the tunnels, get in here, and bring harm to my chickens, and that's just unacceptable. And then I also got to reinforce this a little bit. The rest of it, it's all buried. But this, over time, loosened up while I was pulling some of the weeds. I noticed it was getting loose. I'm going to dig down here, bury it again, put some bricks in there. If there's any extra mortar, slag that on there. But for the end of the day, this will be quite secure and look a little bit more attractive. Not that the chickens care, but I do. I'm a mason, so it's got to look nice. So, anyways, I'm gonna get to work, and I'll check back a couple times through the process here. Well, so I got a lot done. I'm pretty much done. I'm just cleaning up. Patched the tunnel hole. There's about 8 smashed up, sharp fired brick jammed into the hole. I actually pounded them in with the heel of my hammer, and then Poured some cement on top of that. We got our whole coop all meshed and scratched, nice and smooth with mortar all the way around. See the fence is mortared right into the wall, and then I jammed some bricks, sandwiched some bricks and some mortar around the fence, slugged underneath them, so nothing will be able to tunnel in real easy anyways. Ended up pouring 2 big pails of cement, added a little bit of sand to get it real smooth, and smooth troweled it. The steps are the high point, and then it'll slope away in every direction so water won't collect on this and backwash in underneath the coop anymore. The new wood will be protected, and yeah, it should, keep itself, should be pretty self-maintaining. When it pours, it's nice and smooth, so I'm hoping everything just kind of washes off. The wash from the roof will also help pound on the concrete and clean it off. Made some nice limestone steps, and then did the same over here. Laid limestone on both sides and some bricks, jammed all that, slugged underneath it. I actually ran out of mortar. I will eventually fill in between there, but it's all locked in. The chicken wire goes in to the ground about 4 inches there, so that's just there for weight to keep anything from trying to tunnel in. It won't have an easy time. And we trimmed up our fascia board to match that. I ran short on lumber when I was doing that stuff, so I used a piece of 2x12, which didn't look right next to the 2x6. Same thing over here. Chicken wires nailed to the wall and mortared right in. That's all slug tight. Our little pest hole there did the same thing, jammed a bunch of bricks in there, slugged that with cement and mortar. Scratch coat goes all the way around. Made a new door, trimmed out the top and the bottom. Now she fits, closes nice and tight, and it's sealed up real good. It's actually pretty snug, but I'd rather have it snug than loose. Ran our wire for the in-floor heat out the side here. I'm trying not to mess with it too much until it dries. But that, for anybody who hasn't seen earlier videos about this coop, I have a 50-watt solar panel that I mount there, and I just run that directly to that plug, and there's a heater coil from a heated car seat. You can get those ones that just slip over your seat, and you plug them into the cigarette outlet and they warm up. Well, inside of here is poured cement. There's foam, thin layer of foam on the bottom, and an inch of cement. Inside of that is that seat heater coil. I opened it up, I clear coated it so the moisture from the concrete wouldn't penetrate it, shorted out, and then poured it on top of it. And it doesn't get hot, but it definitely gets warm with just the feed from the solar panel. So every day in the winter, when the sun comes up, this starts to warm up, and the concrete retains that heat all the way through the night till the next day. So, we stayed 45 degrees in here on the worst of the winter nights, and the chickens laid eggs all the way through the winter, which they usually massively slow down. You know, we'll get a couple eggs a week in the winter versus 8 to 10 a day, and they never slow down. That thick chunk of limestone that's on the other side, I'll stick that in here right on the cement, and then put the water on top of that, and it raises it up so they don't, you know, kick too much stuff into it. Chickens like to kick their bedding around, and you know, they're whatever. They're goofy critters, so that just helps keep the water thawed out because it soaks up the heat from the cement, and then it helps keep the wood chips out of the water when I block off the door for the hard freeze. And then we'll feed them in here also. I lay another perch. I've got a perch that I stick across this way so they can perch here, they can perch up here, and then they can bed up here, and they like it. Works out really good for them. Yeah, there it is. I went back through, found all the loose spots, stapled everything real tight, and that's just an annual thing. It loosens up. The grapevine grows in there, and when I pull it out, it you know, it yanks the chicken wire this way and that way and whatever. It constantly needs a little bit of maintenance, but for the most part, I think we're pretty damn critter safe here. So I got some dark clouds moving in. I'm really hoping it doesn't pour on my fresh concrete here. Just check the radar, and doesn't say it's gonna, but that don't mean nothing. Don't mean nothing in Wisconsin. What? Batteries are already filled up today, so power-wise, I'm not worried about the clouds, but I literally poured that, 20 minutes ago. I was hoping to give it one more quick trowel and call it a day, but anyhow, thanks for watching, and God bless you. So, I know I already signed off. Just as I signed off, almost immediately, it began to rain. It continued on for about 2.5 hours. Right away, I got some rubber. I draped that over there and tried to keep it off, and then I laid my sweatshirt and another shirt on the edge to try and keep the water from dripping on it, because it was freshly poured. Like it would have washed away and absolutely ruined it, and I would have had to do it again. So I ran and grabbed a propane tank, hooked up the hog torch, which is basically just a flamethrower, propane powered flamethrower that masons use to work in wet conditions, so they can dry mortar, warm up stone, whatever. That's how we get through the winter. And I managed to save it. Here, I'll go in there. While I was at it, killed some weeds while I was warming all this up so I could get it to set. It's nice and set now. There's a little dust on it yet. I'll broom it off tomorrow. But the flames kind of charred my entry there a little bit, and a little bit of that. So, I honestly kind of like the look, and the benefit of charring your wood for something exterior is bugs don't like that. They'll stay the hell away from it. They don't like the smell. They will not eat it. Once it's been charred like that, to them, you'll never get that taste out of it. So they'll just leave it alone. So I ended up hitting the bases of my posts, and going around, killed some weeds, went around and hit all of it. And while I was at it, I warmed up the rest of the mortar. Hit the door, that'll keep the bugs off of the door. Got all that. All that. But you know, that looks kind of sweet. I'll have to, the extreme heat real fast kind of warps the aluminum, so I'll have to kind of kink that back in, but big deal, you know, it's still, it's a drip edge, it'll still work. But she's starting to set real nice. That's going to be a rock hard shell. That'll keep everything out. I got our feeder trays on this side. This guy drops down. I got it hooked up just so it I wasn't bumping into it. That's for when we go up north. We got that and the big guy for the water for when we go up north for a couple of days. That's long-term feeding. Normally we feed and water them every single day just to help socialize them. It's good for them to see us feeding them every day. But you know, and while I was at it, I gave the door a quick char, and you know, it looks nice, and that will keep the bugs off of it. So it's a cool benefit. While I got your attention still, we planted a whole bunch more in the greenhouse here. A little bit of everything. I don't know. Wife did all this. She's been hard at work. But the stuff that we threw in last week is already starting to sprout. So that is sweet. So, and then she's got her project stuff. Aloe. That's been in our room for years, and it just keeps on making babies. Poinsettia, that's, believe it or not, that's been alive for 3 years, blooming for 3 years. So yeah, all kinds of stuff going on. Well, again, if you stuck through to the end, thanks for watching. God bless you.